This video deals with the essentials of creating groups in Blackboard Ultra. It's a relatively straightforward process, but there are several steps and a little bit of clicking. So hang on, I'm going to cover it as succinctly but thoroughly as I can. So remember that most of the functionality of the course day-to-day happens at this top menu. But for this, we're going to go under Details and Actions and find Course Groups and click this link, View Sets and Groups. As soon as we do that, you'll see that your course probably doesn't have any groups by default. That's just fine. In the upper right corner of this window, we're going to hit the plus to create a new group set. There are three different types of groups within a group set. First of all, I'm going to name my group. I'm going to not be creative. I'm just going to call this group. And I'm going to unhide this group so that it's visible to students. There's a custom way of creating groups. There is random assignment, and then there's self-enrollment. And I'll cover these in order. Creating custom groups simply means you're going to click on these cards, and then you're going to add the students that you've clicked to a particular group. Now, if I do this all the way out, it's going to take quite a long time because I have 101 pretend students in this group. But here's how this functionality works. I'm just going to click some cards here. The last card I click, if I hit the three dots here, I can create a new group based on what's already selected. Notice it tells me 6 participants selected. I can create a new group. When I do that, all of the unassigned students remain at the top of the screen, and my new group consisting of these 6 selected students are placed inside of new group 1. So that's one way of creating groups, and you can go through your entire list of students and make that happen. This is often something faculty like because they want to specify exactly who is in a particular group. I'm going to delete this group within the group set by hitting the 3 dots to the right of the group name, and I'm going to, I can actually unassign members, but I'm just going to delete this group because I don't want this extra group hanging out. Second way is to randomly assign students. So this is a scenario where we know we want a certain number of groups containing a certain number of students, but we're not concerned with who those students are relative to that particular group or groups. So I'm going to click Randomly Assign. By default, it gives us 3 groups automatically. If we don't like that, we can drop this down. A nice feature Blackboard gave us was telling us how many approximately are going to be in each group. I think that's really great. I'm just going to create 4 groups here. So when it does that, it's got the groups created. If I want to rename the groups, I can do that. Veteran Studies names theirs Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta, which I think. So I'm just scrolling down, clicking once by the name of the group, giving the name, and then I can add group descriptions here if I want, or perhaps specific instructions. When I'm done with that, all I have to do is hit save. If I've made a mistake, or if I want to make further changes, I can hit the 3 dots here. I can unassign the members from the group. Notice they go back up to unassigned students. I'm going to put these back into a group. I'm going to select all of them, click the 3 dots in the upper right corner of one of the cards, and because I did not delete that group, I can put them all back in to Delta. And I'm just verifying that's what I want. If I want to undo the whole thing, I can unassign everyone. Also remember, this is a lossless process. You can do anything you want to inside of this group creation tool, and nothing matters until you actually start utilizing these groups somewhere. Then if you make changes and say you have availability based on group membership, then you run into problems. So I'm just going to hit save. It takes me back to that initial screen, and now I can hit this down arrow and expand this group set, and you'll see that I have 4 groups. And if I want information about a particular group, all I have to do is hit the 3 dots over here on the right go to edit, and I can see my groups again and make changes if I want. Okay, so that's creating groups in a group set where you are asking for the random addition of students to groups. Let's deal with the last option, going back, and I'm going to create a new group set here. I'm going to make this visible to students, upper right corner of the screen, and instead of a custom or random assignment, I'm going to do self-enrollment. Self-enrollment can be very useful depending on what you would like to do. Perhaps there will be different areas of emphasis in your course. Perhaps you want to create some sort of birds of a feather discussion, or you may not want to manage the enrollment of students into a particular group. Could be lots of reasons. So I'm going to give this a name. You could give it a description. When does the enrollment start date begin? You could leave these blank to make it completely open, or you could specify a start date and time and an end date and time. You can offer maximum members per group. The strange thing about the number of groups in the self-enrollment option is that there's no way to specify up here the number of groups you'd like to have, which is kind of odd. You have to come down here and hit the plus and create additional groups should you want that. So now I have 5 groups, 5, 4, 1, 2, and 3. And then I could say maximum of 22 or so per group, or 21 probably would be a closer number. And then if that's visible to students, a student can go in and self-enroll into a group, and I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm going to hit save here. So I have 2 group sets here ostensibly. Going to come back out of here, going to go to student preview mode and content. And then if I go to groups, view groups to join. So remember, I'm looking at this course as a student. So I'm looking at self-enroll here. I already have group membership in Delta as part of this pretend student user. So here I can decide I want to join a particular group. I'll just join new group number 1. So if I go back to course groups, you'll see that 1 out of 101 students is a member of one of those groups. So this is the essentials, the getting started, if you will, relative to group creation and management in Blackboard Ultra.